Welcome back everyone to another ESO build video. Today I'm going to show you what you can use on the Dragon Knight in Maelstrom if you don't have all the shiny endgame stuff. This is an update for the Homestead patch on a previous build, which I will link in the description. There isn't much change, but I am going to go over several important factors about the build and also where you can get the gear, specifically the weapons, including the correct trait weapons, and also some alternative options for the monster set based on your experience in Maelstrom itself. Now let's find the gear. Actually, we'll look at stats first. I need to proc the weapon buff, so potion, Vitality, even the smoke. There it goes. 4.4, almost 4.5k weapon damage when the weapon glyph is procced. Obviously, the more you do the damage, the more active that will be. 20,500 health, 39k stamina, 10k magic, which is not that important apart from the odd Ignis shield here and there, and 1k recovery, just over 1k recovery. Semi-resists, but don't worry about those, we're going to be shielding and healing anyway. Almost 70% crit, not quite 70, but it's still fine. We put all of our points into stamina, so 64 stamina. We're Vampire to increase our recovery and our reduction to damage when we're low health. I'll go over the passives. Using Thief Mundus Stone, and we're also using health and stamina food. Now, health and stam food, if you don't already know, where is it? Slot of items, they moved it. This stuff here. There's a couple of variations to this, but basically for your level you want as much health and stamina on that food as possible, whatever your level is. The gear, we're still using 5 Swamp Raiders, which has crit, weapon damage and stamina, which are 3 very nice traits. Even for end game sets, that's actually very nice. The 5th item bonus, the 5th piece item bonus, when you deal damage with a magic or ability, you do additional damage to all your poison and disease damage abilities, which is really nice. For 10 seconds, in fact, 440 weapon damage to those. Now, if you watched the previous video, you know already how to make this work. Yes, you can use a magic ability to turn on, to do damage, to activate it, but it also works off of weapon enchants as well, which I'll show you in a moment. We're using a dagger as well, so a weapon and spell damage glyph on the axe, sharpened, poison glyph on the dagger, which comes with that anyway, also sharpened. The back bar, I'm not using this set, I'm just using whatever gold bow I had at the time with the crusher enchant on it, and sharpened also. This is a wild card piece, you don't have to have it as part of any of your sets, although if you want to, I mean, you could always have a Swamp Raider bow on the back just to keep the 4-piece when you swap, but it's not necessary. Just a random bow is fine. Vulcan Scoria helmet, this is for, oh, infuse as well, obviously on the medium, on the large pieces. This is for the extra health, just to give you that 1k bonus there. Bloodspawn, just 1 piece, Divines because it's a small piece, to give you some stamina recovery because we do struggle with that. And on the body we have 5 pieces of Hundin's Rage, while in the jewellery we have the Swamp Raider jewellery. So we have 3 jewellery with weapon enchants, all max damage, 2 weapons of the Swamp Raider, 5 body pieces of Hundin's Rage, and then 1 Vulcan Scoria and 1 Bloodspawn. Now, make sure that across your armour you have what we call 5-1-1, which is basically 5 medium, 1 heavy and 1 light to take full advantage of your Undaunted passives, which we'll get to. Stamina glyphs on everything to give you as much maximum stamina as possible to contribute to your damage. Now, Hundin's Rage is a 6 trait crafted set. If you put points into research and you research the stuff yourself, you can probably get it within 2-3 weeks. Doesn't take too long to do, and some people have already started that, especially new players. They look into research right away for crafting, just throw the odd item on. Maybe you've already got it. If you haven't, shout out in local, there's usually somebody who's crafting it and they'll make it for you for a decent price. So there's your crafted set. The Swamp Raider, now we're going to get to that. This comes from I'm going to show you where the weapons are, which I didn't do in the last video because I wasn't entirely sure where they were. Now, this boss here in Shadowfen. Farm this boss, it drops the unique axe. It always drops in sharpened if you get the unique version of the weapon. So you might get it first time, might take you a few times, but farm that boss. This side of the map, this area specifically, there's a couple quest lines. Both of them in fact give you a dagger. One of them I believe is the sharpened one. So you're guaranteed a sharpened there, and you're guaranteed a sharpened there. So you don't have to go farming all this stuff to get it. Now the dolmens, that is where you get your jewellery from. They drop in the chests after the dolmen is complete. You can rotate them, go one to the next, or you can just sit at one and just wait for it to respawn and just keep farming it. Now, you can also buy these from guild traders because they're tradable. Until you equipped it, of course. Now, if we look at the stats again, you'll see obviously we have 20k health. If I put my food on. That is due to our race. We are Imperial. You don't have to be Imperial, I'll go over that. But Imperial passives are pretty damn strong. You have 12% max health, which is really good for stamina, especially the stamina DK, because you do take a lot of damage and you don't heal much. Not in comparison to a stam sork, perhaps. You also get 10% max stamina. Now this is the strongest stamina passive in the game. It's exactly the same as the red guard, but the red guard will give you stamina back every 3 seconds or 4 seconds, I forget, if you light or heavy attack. Whereas the Imperial will actually give you health back, and that's based on chance obviously, and you restore 6% of your max health, but it does help, especially if you're what we call weaving, which is putting a light attack between your abilities. You don't have to be Imperial. You can go red guard if you like for the large stamina pool and a nice recovery. You could go Khajiit if you wanted for the extra crit, but you really don't need it, and you will drop a lot in stamina, so your overall damage may or may not be as high. Your overall hits damage wise will be lower, but you'll crit more often, so it's up to you. But personally I like to have a nice big stamina buff so that even if I don't crit, my damage is always quite high, and if I do crit, it's higher than it should be by quite a bit. So that's nice there. Now, important skills. Front bar. We start with Venom Claw. This is a very cheap and very strong, in fact the strongest single target dot you have, poison based ability, which gets progressively stronger every 2 seconds by 12%. So the longer that's on, the stronger it gets. Just make sure that when it falls off, you reapply it. Beast Trap, Rearming Trap, in fact, from the Fighters Guild skill line. This is a reasonably strong death over time ability on single target, but we use it for the minor force, which increases our damage when we crit by 10%, or across the board, all abilities, as long as you get a critical hit. So we keep that up as well. And it's also a stun, which is quite handy sometimes. Evil Hunter, we don't actually press this ability, we don't activate it, but it does add extra weapon damage in the passives, which I'll get to in a moment, and it also gives you Major Savagery, which increases your overall crit while it's on the bar by around 10%. Bloodthirst. This is the morph of Flurry. There's 2 variations to this. There is Rapid Strikes, which is very common, and there's Bloodthirst. Rapid Strikes I would definitely recommend if you are a stamina sork, because you already have a lot of healing coming in from your passive brutality buff when you crit. For the DK you don't tend to have that, so I use Bloodthirst instead, because the last hit of every successful ability, every time you use this, heals you for 60% of the damage done, which is very nice. Also, the same applies for this, Blood Craze. It has a heal over time on you while this dot is active. So this heals you and this heals you. It's not massive, but it does count, especially in stack up situations, or if you're in a boss's face and he's doing some real damage to you. The more you hit him, the more you heal. Dawnbreaker. This I use in emergencies if I need resources back, but I mainly slot it for the 5% extra weapon damage. Also, this is increased further with the Fighters Guild passives, which I've already said again, I will get to. This is also frontal damage, like in a cone, for multiple enemies in front of you in a short distance up to 10 meters. It's pretty strong. It does more damage to Daedra, Undead, that kind of stuff, but it's It's really nice. It's a reasonable oh shit button if you really need it, but it's mostly there for the passives. Excuse me. Back bar, vigor. You do have to go to PvP for a short period of time to unlock this. Basically, how the AP system is now, how fast you can get points. Just follow a group of people, hit people, take keeps, defend keeps, whatever you favour, and within a couple of hours or so you'll have this unlocked, and then you can just get out and do whatever you want to do. Leveling it up to this morph is very quick also. Hit 2 or 3 mammoths and it will go to max level really quickly. This is your main heal, and it scales off of your max stamina and weapon damage also, and it's going to work alongside this, which we'll come to in a moment. Poison injection. This is now moved in the skill line to the very bottom of the bow bar skills, but it's very important. It starts off as poison arrow, I believe, but basically this is a very good death over time poison ability. Again, more poison, and it gets progressively stronger the lower the enemy's health is. So anyone under 50% takes more damage the lower they get. Noxus Breath, another very strong poison ability. It's area of effect as well in front of you, so multiple enemies can be hit by it. Lasts for 10 seconds and applies Major Fracture, which reduces all their resists, which means you hit harder. It is the same debuff as what a tank with a sword and board would use if they taunt, but it is an area of effect, and of course it's damage to you, or for you even. Igneous Shield, this one's very important. Generally I fit, what's it called, igneous weapons, but you can use this instead. Now this would mean that you have to use a Major Brutality potion instead of igneous weapons to give you your buff, but this applies the same passives but with a little bit of a bonus. When you press this you will receive a small damage shield, and so will people around you, but the important part is you get Major Mending for 6 seconds, improving all of your healing done, which includes vigor, and it also includes the damage you heal, or the amount you heal from these two abilities, and also the passives in the Imperial skill line if you choose to go Imperial. So anything you heal with, that you heal yourself, any of your own heals, this will boost them. And also, it also gives you some other passives, which we'll get to in a second. Ender's Hail, stupidly overpowered dot. You place it on the ground like this. Oh, wrong button. Like this. Anything in here gets hit every half a second for a ridiculous amount of damage. And we're going to take this. In fact, we'll just put it on this guy here, without any buffs on. Come here. You stand in this. Now, yeah, 2-3k a tick or so, unless you've got a Maelstrom bow. Excuse me. Which, it looks a lot less than it is. If you hit for 2 or 3k every second, every hit, sorry, that's half a second. So every second you get 2 of them. So you're hitting for like 6+ every second, which is pretty strong, and it's area of effect as well. So everyone inside of that receives the same damage. Now, alongside of the rest of your abilities that are running, it adds up. In fact, we'll just hit these with 2 dots. Just block while they die. Now, it's not over the top powerful, but it does count once you get inside your rotations. Now, the passives we were talking about, after we get to this one, the ultimate, the big one. This is what you need to use above this every time, as long as you have enough ultimate to do so. Dawnbreaker is for oh shit moments, when you're just about to run out of resources, there's nothing else you can do. And this is what you use primarily to do as much damage as possible. It had a bit of a nerf last patch. It used to do 20% extra damage, now it does 15, but it's still really powerful. Put this down, stay inside of it, keep the enemy inside of it. Any enemies, as many as you can actually. And while you're still hitting your usual rotations and damage and all the rest of it, everything you do is increased by 15%, plus you take less damage. And it's got a nice dot attached to it as well, which is pretty strong. Now, sorry, the passives I was going to go over. This skill line, just get every single passive here. Increases damage for poison and fire and all that kind of stuff if you need those. Draconic Power reduces the amount of damage you take when you block, increases your healing received, all that kind of stuff. Just get all these passives for now, and then depending on the situation you may or may not switch out to certain abilities, but you definitely want these, especially the spell resistance and stuff like that. Earth and Heart passive, these are essential. Igneous Shields, said about this. Puts a shield on you, gives you major mending. Now, Battle Roar. This, you get resources back if you pop ultimates. Very, very important. A lot of resources back. Almost heal yourself to full. This is the important part. 5% weapon damage increase for 20 seconds for you and your group, plus gives you 3 ultimate if you press it once every 3 seconds. That's any Earth and Heart ability. So this here just increased my weapon damage. Even though it shields me, and that's what I'm using it for. Shield, heal, that's where you use it. The major mending, shield, and then heal after. It increases your weapon damage. So keep that up at least once every 20 seconds. Also shields you and your group, if you're in a group. And the final one, that applies to all these skills, even if you're using igneous weapons. You'll see me running around spamming that. It's just to keep up brutality, or this big one here. Using an Earth and Heart ability restores 5% of your max stamina. Now, that means that if I run out of stuff, let's use something. Run out very quickly. Because I have to use a cheap ability, wouldn't I? Use something more expensive. Now, your stamina doesn't recover while you're blocking, so that shouldn't go up. But if you hit igneous weapons or igneous shields, whichever ones you've got attached, puts your stamina up. So you don't have a lot of magicka to spam it because we're not a tank and we don't have loads of recovery, but in a jam, that will fill a nice gap in your resources. It's very nice. What else have we got? That's pretty much it for that. Weapon dual wield. Make sure you get all the dual wield passives, every single one. You can read through them at your own time if you want. The reason we have an axe, by the way, is for the bleed. 8% chance to do so. And also the dagger is for extra crit for holding it. Bow, again, I'm not going to go through all of these, but just get every single passive here, especially this one at the end. You don't need none of them. Medium. Get all medium passives. These all help towards your sustain, your crit, all kind of stuff. Make sure you get all those. Heavy armor, again, you don't need these two at the bottom here. That's only if you go full heavy, which I do occasionally on other builds, but get the first 3 because it increases your resists and your health. Light armor also, you can use it for recovery if you like, and a slight increase to resistances also. It's not massive, but if you've got the spare skills, pump some into these. But it's not essential. The essential ones are things like Vampire, which I'm using for extra recovery, 10% on both magic and stamina, and 33% reduction to damage when you are low health. Very, very nice. And also if you're going in PvP, take this, because you run as fast as you normally do while stealth, which is pretty sneaky. Fighters Guild, this is where this comes into play, and also this. Intimidating Presence first of all, because you want your rearmament trap to be cheaper. That reduces it by 20%. Increases your weapon damage by 3% for each fighter's ability slotted. So this may give you 5% passively, but it also gives you another 3% for having it there, and this gives you another 3% also, and so does this. So we've got a 9% bonus plus the 5 there. We've got a lot of weapon damage. Banish the Wicked, we use this to gain ultimate if we kill undead or Daedra or werewolves. Really, really nice. And you need as much ultimate as possible, because that is how on a DK you get your resources back. Undaunted, final one, I think. This one here, Undaunted Metal, this is why we wear 5-1-1, 5 medium, 1 heavy, 1 light. We're wearing 3 different types of armor, and that means we get 6% max health, magicka and stamina on top of everything we've already got. So that's why our stats are so high. Oh, very important. Medicinal use. Get that to level 3, or 3 points in it. It makes your crafted potions last longer than the cooldown timer, which is also another factor I'm not going to get to. Potions. I think I've almost covered everything after this. Where are my potions? Removed my stuff. Okay, speed pots, I still use these. Makes you run fast, basically 30% extra speed for 47 seconds. Increases your weapon damage by 20%, that's the same buff as igneous weapons, which means we don't need to slot it while this is on. We can use your shield instead. And also it gives you major endurance, which increases your stamina recovery for 47 seconds by 20%. Cooldown's 45, we can keep our stamina recovery up all the time. The other option is this, which is basically a crit pot. Also gives major brutality, just like the last one. Gives you major endurance, just like the last one. Gives you stamina back, just like the last potion. But it does also give you major savagery as well. Here's where your choices come in. if you're in trials, dungeons, whatever, and you're taking too much damage from area of effect abilities, you can slot this, which is Deadly Cloak. In those situations I would put crit pots on, because we're removing the crit from that skill. This reduces the damage in area of effect that you take by 20%. So any red that you accidentally stand in, any AoEs, anything like that, it reduces what you take in damage, and it does dish out a little bit of damage every 3 seconds. Not massive, but it's a good damage reduction ability with a little bit of damage attached. Or you can switch out for this, which is Steel Tornado. Technically it counts as an execute, so obviously the lower the enemy's health, the stronger it, or the harder it hits. But it's also a bit of a spammable inside AoE situations. I wouldn't recommend personally using it too much because it's expensive, especially once you've already casted all your stuff down. It really doesn't take long to start running out of juice, especially on a long fight. But if loads and loads of enemies are going low, or perhaps you use it in Maelstrom, which some people do, and you can sustain well, it's a good way to finish something off. So we'll see. Let's find something to hit. These are only small, but you don't really have to do much work there, but you'll see that obviously it drains your stamina quite a lot while you're in combat, so be careful how you use that one. Again, if you're using that, I would use crit pots. If you're not using crit pots, use speed pots in Maelstrom, and you can keep Evil Hunter on and you'll be just fine. Now, rotation wise, we will go over in a moment. Let's kill these quickly. You don't need to worry too much about a rotation in Maelstrom, you just need to worry about killing stuff really quickly. What am I doing? Putting Evil Hunter on. But let's find a mammoth or something. We won't be able to use a die too quickly. Forget it, I'll just explain it. Basically, there is a rotation guide that I did on my YouTube channel quite a while ago. It's very, very similar. Instead of Caltrops, we're using Noxus Breath. One, it's cheaper. Two, we don't stay in a fight for too long, and we want to reduce their resist obviously as well. So reduce their resist, smack him. Now, in terms of dealing damage, I'm stuck. You want to make sure that you, in Maelstrom, you get your poison injection on everything as soon as possible, and then just burn them down, and that will do its job. It will actually get stronger the lower their health is, as I explained earlier. But when you face, say for example, a boss or something, you need to make sure you get all your dots on first. Generally, the rotation is the same as my previous videos, where you'll do rapid strikes, light attack, and then put your Venom Claw on. You'll do it again with the rapid strikes, light attack, and then blood craze, and your beast trap and go to the back, volley, poison injection, Noxus Breath, start again, and you'll just repeat that over and over and over and over until it's dead. But really fast kills. Let's find something really fast. This dude up here. A lot of the enemies have this kind of health. 30k isn't too bad for Maelstrom. Maybe some of them are higher, but poison injection, stab, 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 is dead. There's not really much else to do there. It's only on boss fights that you really have to worry about full rotations and that kind of stuff. But that will come in time. I can't get near them. There's your shit button just in case. That's what that's for. But we'll go in, we'll do a quick round. This is of course with no Maelstrom weapons. Obviously over time, as you progress, your Maelstrom weapons will come, and it's up to you how you then adapt to go. Also, what I can recommend, if you are very good with your sustain and you've had a lot of practice, I would highly recommend changing out this shoulder for a Vulcan Scoria. Now, Velodreth is a favourite for a lot of people. I've tested it. In terms of DPS, Velodreth has a one-piece bonus to it which increases weapon damage. So yes, overall your damage will increase a little bit, but Velodreth fires once every 9 seconds, and it can miss. For example, if I'm aiming this way, hitting something, I put a dot on it, and turn around, it could proc and just fire in a random direction. That does happen if you're not experienced with it. And on this particular setup, I think it does somewhere around 10,000 damage, whether you have an ultimate down or not, self-buffed. Vulcan Scoria hits for around high 6Ks, almost like sort of early 7Ks, with an also additional 2 to 3k AoE added to it as well, so almost 10 again. But the difference is the time, the cooldown timer, and also its position. Velodreth has 9 seconds, It doesn't do that much damage. It doesn't do 11. It does less than that. But because the enemies have resists. But it's supposed to do that anyway. About 12k almost. You can miss, and it also fires in 3 different directions, and only 1 target can be hit by any of them at any time. You can't hit 3 on the same target. Now, Valkynscoria allegedly does 9k, depending on the resists, and also the 4k AoE. But this is every 5 seconds. So 12k-ish there every 9, nearly 10k, well more than 10k with the AoE landing as well, every 5 seconds. So you can pump out quite a decent amount of damage with it. But it's personal preference as to which one of the 2 you use. This one does give you the extra buffer of health, obviously, and also where this can miss, this cannot. This can lock onto targets. So I'll give you an example. Let's actually let's just, it doesn't matter what set pieces we have on. We'll just put on, where is it? Verge of Heavy and a helmet. Where's the helmet? Now I'm going to target him and I'm going to turn away. Come in. Oh, he's not even standing in it. There, it fires the wrong bloody way. That can happen. It doesn't hit the target just because you're damaging it. But what does work is this. Now this is based on death over time abilities or damage over time abilities. So if you have a dot on the target, there's an 8% chance to fire. So we'll hit him and him. And face the other way. Locks on. You can't miss. It's not as powerful as it was in the past because you used to be able to crit on it, but it does not miss. So we'll get a dot on him. Turn away. Come on, come on, come on. Is he coming or what? Oh, it doesn't. It's reset. Ah, you bastard. Alright, let's find someone else. You. Come on. You'll have more. There you go, fire. Boom. You will have more than 1 death over time ability running, and it does stack up. So the more dots you have, the more percentage increase it has to land. So this, poison injection, venom core, any of your dots you're running, basically every single ability you're using is death over time. So you stack them up, and it'll just fire and fire and fire. We'll find one more just to give him a quick slap. What we got over there? Can't hit you. You can hit the bear. The bear's going to die really, really fast. I'm not going to weigh into him. I'm just going to put a quick dot on him. Come on. He's dead. Shit. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go into Maelstrom and do the first round. Now, I did also mention about how to make this set proc, or basically activate. What you have to do, allegedly, is do magic damage. Preferably a magic ability, as this says. But it says deal magic damage with an ability. Now, the enchant on weapons actually turns it on, because it counts as magic damage. So just light attacking between your abilities, or even just hitting them, will turn it on. Your hands will glow green, and you'll do extra poison and disease damage for 10 seconds. And you can keep it up pretty much all the time. Now, if they ever change that and they want to get snippy about it and make it so it actually does require a magic ability to do so, then we'll just slot something like this on. Ardent Flame, Inferno. I've run out of skill points because I need to respec. But basically, you just turn this on. It lasts 15 seconds. And it does damage every 5 seconds. All you have to do is make sure that one target gets hit with it, and you're fine. So we'll just add that to your rotation. But if that happens, I'll make another video, really fast one, just showing you how to do it, or you can try it out. But let's quickly get in here. I don't really need the quest right now. Now also take into account, obviously we don't have the Maelstrom bow, where volley or Ender's Hail, whichever you want to call it, does up to like 3 maybe 4k max depending on your buffs at the time, every half second. With the Maelstrom weapon, it's very, very strong, and you'll be able to get it hopefully soon. So let's pop the potion. Pop, dead. Valkynscoria pops all the time. It's ridiculous. You have to wait 9 seconds to fire into the wrong direction. You also don't have to be a genius at Maelstrom to do that. I said end game stuff, yeah, there's ways to get more damage, but for beginners and such, I mean, this is ridiculous. Unite. Don't have to heal yet. If you ever heal, Ignis shields first, then Vigor. Get some decent heals out of it. Oops, he's going to die anyway because Vulcan Square is going to pop. Stay away from that poison. See, it never misses. He's going to die. Now the bosses will take a little longer than the end game stuff, but this is what it's for. I mean, you have to start somewhere. Should probably use Beast Trap a little bit more. I usually do. I forget when I'm demonstrating, which is probably not a good idea. Nope. There he is. Forget to block. Okay. Remember, pop the Ignis shield as much as you can, as long as you've got the magic to do so. Make sure that you heal afterwards. I should have put his breath on then, but I didn't. That's pretty bad when it gets stuck. Not too bad. That boss is usually a little bit easier. Well, I got stuck in his stupid thing, but you get the idea. It's pretty straightforward, and Vulcan Square is powerful as hell. I mean, if you're struggling with sustain, like I said to start with, you can put Bloodspawn on. In fact, you can take Vulcan Square off completely, and you can switch it for perhaps Stormfist and maybe Bloodspawn combined, which will then give you quite a lot of recovery. 1.1k, bit more than that. Is that what the potion popped? No, that's not what the potion popped. 1.3, so there's your sustain there if you don't want to use the Vulcan Square, but I would assume you're better off with Vulcan Square, just because it gives you 3 damage and it never misses. It will always hit whatever target it's decided to fire off of, whereas, like I said, Veladreth can miss, especially if you're not experienced with it. But if you just want the buffer and the recovery, you can use one of it. See how you get on, see what you like. Stamina or not, I still think Vulcan Square is awesome. Let's go to the house. We have a couple of shout outs and some information about an upcoming video, which a lot of you will probably pay a bit of attention to. Okay, quickly before I forget, CPs. Don't put anything in here. Hardy and Elemental Defender, 80 in each to top up your resists or reduction to damage, and also 13 thick skin to reduce your damage from dots. These do change depending on trials, dungeons, etc. or whatever, but they can be altered, but that's basically how I have it all round. 10 points in here to increase your heals that you receive or you do yourself. And also for this passive, so that you take less damage when you're reviving people in case you're in a group situation. 100 into reduction to cost and stamina, 80 in recovery, 20 into tenacity. You can heavy attack to get your stamina back if you need to, so I put a few points in there. Nothing in there, nothing in there, nothing in there. 75 Thermitage, 75 Mighty, 31 Pearson for the extra penetration, 7.8% into crit damage, so when you do crit you do extra damage, and that's pretty much it. Nothing really else to do there. You can put more in here if you need, but then you'd have to take it out of penetration or bonus to crit damage. Or maybe even here, but it's up to you. You have a lot of darts and you have a lot of poison and physical damage, so I balanced those two and put a little bit into penetration as well. And that's pretty much it for those. The 1000 subscribers giveaway video where I gave away 2 gold sharpened willpower swords, obviously I ran out of cash, so I saved up since then and finally got my own house. So have a look there. Right, nobody cares. Let's get to the point. 2 shout outs to do specifically. Abdul Sidhom from my streams, he's been watching quite a lot. Thank you very much for your following, your support, and also for the paintings. They are in here. Some of you may have seen these already. Most of you have probably got a couple of them, but I ran out of cash and this dude sent me this and this one and this one and this one, so thank you very much for those, much appreciated. They obviously have a home now. I need some decorating in here, I'll get it done later. Also, another shout out once again is to MX Panthera for your very generous donations of gold materials, and of course some Master Ritz recently as well, which has come in very handy and will also contribute to the 2k subscribers giveaway. So when the 2k subscribers mark finally hits, I will be giving away a very shiny reward to one lucky player who will be randomly selected, but I will make sure that I get all of your usernames first of all, so that I can put you all in the hat. I'm not going to give too much away about that one. It's just people don't necessarily have enough money to buy one of these, so it's going to be quite nice. Shout outs have already been done, I think, but I would like to thank everybody else who is already watching, and please do hit that subscribe. It is free. Any additional information, including drop locations, how to get the gear as well, the crafter stuff also, and also a link to MX Panthera's music channel, very good as well. I did offer that shout out based on the amount of support given there, so go and check it out. And I think there's 2 more builds coming very soon. The Mag DK, I need to make sure I finish Mage's Guild first. I'm not giving it to you without it being finished. I hate doing Mage's Guild, but what can you do? And also another tank, primarily for tanking axes in AA, if I get it finished. Now, I should be streaming in the next couple of days, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.